In my sermon today, I'm going to be speaking about how every miracle begins with a problem. And I think if you ponder that statement for a moment or two, you'll find it's true. Every miracle begins with a problem, whether it's a problem in the Bible or a problem we hear about in real life, things that we call miraculous. They start with a problem or a difficulty. So today in my sermon and in our week together on our daily videos, I'm going to be looking at a different passage each day where there's a problem and God acts in a miraculous way. And I've also structured this week so that I'm going to share a number of passages from the Hebrew Bible where we see the prophets Elijah or Elisha healing somebody, and then following that the next day with a passage from the Gospels where Jesus does something very similar. So that may be enlightening a little bit for you. So today, both here and in my sermon, I'm going to be starting with the wedding at Cana of Galilee. This is in John chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. You may know, and I'll share in my sermon as I begin, that John's Gospel is very different from the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. For example, there's no Sermon on the Mount or Sermon on the Plain in John's Gospel. John begins just like the book of Genesis, in the beginning. Jesus heals no lepers. He doesn't institute the Lord's Supper in the Gospel of John. John's Gospel is different. And part of what organizes John's Gospel are two significant things. Signs that Jesus performs that are, in many cases, miracles, and the I am sayings of Jesus. I am the bread of life, I am the light of the world, I am the gate, I am the good shepherd, etc., that I'll be preaching about in the months of February and March. So that's a little bit of context for today, where it's the third day, and this is the first week when Jesus has called his first disciples. 4 days previous, he had called Andrew and his brother Simon. Then he calls 3 days previous Philip and Nathanael. And now it's a wedding day. And they go to a wedding in Cana of Galilee, about 9 miles from Nazareth, where Jesus was from. And also interesting to me, in John's Gospel, this is one of only 2 appearances of the mother of Jesus. And also interesting, we're never told the name of the mother of Jesus in John's Gospel. She's always referred to simply as the mother of Jesus. And at the wedding at Cana of Galilee, and I encourage you just to watch my sermon today to get the full story, they run out of wine, which would have been a terrible humiliation and embarrassment in that culture. And Jesus' mother approaches him, tells him they have no wine. Jesus is irritated by the implication that he should do something about it because he's just getting started. And still, he does. And what could have been a disaster for the bride and groom and their family turns into the first miracle that Jesus performs. And it's abundant in what Jesus does, making at least around 150 gallons of the best wine anyone ever tasted. So if you've got a problem you're facing today, remember not to be too discouraged. It just might be you're in a good place to experience a miracle of God and God's grace and power being revealed to you beyond what you can even imagine.